Have you ever felt like something inside you knows how to heal, but you've just forgotten how to listen? Why do people in the quietest corners of the world heal without modern medicine, while others in high-tech hospitals continue to suffer? And what if the secret to healing isn't hidden in a pill, but in the stillness you've been too busy to notice? What if I told you that nearly 85% of today's illnesses don't come from viruses, bacteria, or even genetics, but from something far more subtle, something science can't scan and no prescription can truly reach? Why do some people recover from serious illnesses in weeks, while others, given the same diagnosis and the same treatments, struggle for years? Why do their symptoms persist, no matter what medication or diet they try? And what about the monks living high in the Himalayas, far from pharmacies, hospitals, or modern therapies? These elders often live peacefully into their 90s or beyond, without relying on painkillers, surgeries, or vitamin supplements. How is it possible that people with so little access to what we call health care often enjoy better health than those with everything at their fingertips? Here's a truth few are willing to say out loud. Healing isn't something you consume. It's something you awaken, something you remember. For over 2,500 years, Buddhist teachings have pointed to a quiet but profound truth. The body doesn't heal through force, pressure, or control. It heals when the mind becomes still. And in that stillness, something begins to shift, not magically, but deeply. Something ancient stirs inside you, something real, something that was never truly broken, only unheard. This isn't about rejecting medicine or ignoring science, far from it. It's about rediscovering another kind of science, the inner science of awareness. It's the medicine of presence, of breath, of belief, of truly being here now. Maybe you've already tried everything they told you to try. The diets, the pills, the workout plans, the sleep trackers. You've done the research, followed the steps, kept the faith. But somehow, something still doesn't feel right. A quiet part of you keeps whispering, there must be another way. And that whisper is worth listening to. Because today, we begin exploring a different path, a wiser path, one built on 5 timeless Buddhist principles, each offering a doorway into a new way of understanding healing. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. So take a deep breath. Let everything else wait. Because what you're about to hear may forever shift the way you understand illness, healing, and yourself. Let's begin by asking, not, how do I fix this? But rather, what is my body trying to tell me? Previously, we asked, what if your body isn't malfunctioning, but sending you a message? Now, let's listen more closely to what those messages are truly saying. Your body is not your enemy. In fact, it's been on your side this entire time, fighting for you, not against you. Every ache, every fatigue, every sleepless night, they aren't random, they're signals. And behind every signal is a quiet request. Please, listen. Even science is catching up. Recent research from Harvard shows that up to 90% of all doctor visits are related in some way to stress. Not because stress is just in your head, but because stress literally rewires the brain, weakens the immune system, tightens the muscles, and inflames the gut. Stress lives in the body. And yet, just 10 minutes of mindfulness a day has been shown to start undoing the damage. That's not magic. That's measurable. But there's something you won't find printed on a pill bottle. Healing isn't just physical. It's emotional. it's deeply human. Psychologists have long found that buried emotions, especially grief, shame, and anger, don't disappear. They hide. And where do they hide? In the body. The mind may try to bury them with distraction, denial, or busyness, but the body always remembers. Lingering aches, nights of broken sleep, a heartbeat that races for no reason. Sometimes they don't come from brokenness. They come from truths you haven't spoken, wounds that never had words. Maybe you're thinking, I've ignored this for years. Can listening really help now? Yes, it can. Because here's the beautiful part. Your body never gave up on you. It's like an old friend, faithful, patient. Even after years of silence, it's still ready to answer with warmth the moment you finally say, I'm here, I'm listening. Some call it the mind-body connection. Others know it as the law of attraction. Either way, the truth is this. Your body responds to the beliefs you hold most often. If you constantly think, I'm falling apart, your biology begins to reflect that belief. But imagine if your new inner mantra was, I am healing, I am learning, I am listening. That small shift, those few words, can open a door. There's a simple image I love to share with students. Picture your body as a wise old tree. Its roots go deep. Its bark carries scars and memories. Its rings show its growth. It doesn't bloom by force. It blooms when the conditions are right. Sunlight, stillness, space. You don't fix a tree. You nourish it. And then it heals itself. Now you might be smiling and thinking, if my body is a tree, why does it creak like an old chair every morning? Fair enough. But even the creakiest trees still reach for the light. You are not broken. You are a miracle in motion. But only if you stop treating your body like a machine to control and start honoring it like a temple to care for. And if you've been waiting for a sign to start treating your body differently, this is it. Tonight, try this. Place your hand gently over your heart. Close your eyes. Say softly, I'm here now. I hear you. And then, simply notice what arises. Most people will never do this. They'll keep searching for fixes while missing the whispers. But not you. You're still here, still watching, still listening. And that means you've already taken the first step. Last time, we listened to the body's whispers. Now, let's explore why the whispers get louder as we grow older, and why we suffer more not because of age itself, but because of how we resist it. Suffering doesn't come simply from aging. It comes from our attachment to how we wish things would stay. We long for the energy we once had, the body we once moved in, the face we once saw in the mirror. Modern life doesn't help. We're conditioned to worship youth, to chase it, inject it, preserve it with filters and serums. But in Zen Buddhism, impermanence isn't something to fear. It's something we are taught to bow to with humility and grace. Look at a tree in autumn. It doesn't mourn the falling leaves. It lets them go, elegantly, silently, trusting that what falls makes space for what's next. The tree doesn't see it as decay. It sees it as preparation. Aging, then, isn't a loss. It's a return to essence, to simplicity, to what truly matters. But the real suffering begins when we resist this natural truth. When we say to ourselves, I shouldn't feel this tired. I used to be able to do this. I look so old. These quiet judgments don't just dim your joy, they actually change your biology. Did you know that in a groundbreaking Yale University study, adults who held positive beliefs about aging lived on average 7.5 years longer than those who didn't? That's more than the life-extending benefits of quitting smoking, eating vegetables, or regular exercise combined. So, you may be taking your vitamins and following a wellness routine, but if your inner voice is saying, "I'm falling apart," your cells are still listening and responding accordingly. I once met a woman, 78 years old. She didn't have the glow of someone who runs marathons or grows her own kale. Her glow came from something softer, something deeper: peace, presence, grace. I asked her gently, "What's your secret?" She smiled and said, "I stopped believing I was old." She added, "The body ages, yes, but I still say thank you every time I wake up breathing." She wasn't in denial. She had arthritis. She'd lost her partner. Her hands trembled as she poured tea, but she carried herself with dignity. That quiet dignity that doesn't come from having control over life, but from being fully present with it. Psychology confirms what spiritual traditions have long known. As we age, what hurts most isn't the body. It's the feeling of becoming invisible, unnecessary, or past our prime. When we lose meaning, our nervous system begins to shrink its responsiveness. The body slows down not just from age, but from emotional withdrawal. But here's the beautiful twist. Connection can reverse this. Purpose is the most powerful elixir of all. Studies show that even simple acts, volunteering, mentoring, planting a garden, can activate brain regions that reduce pain and extend lifespan. And from the law of attraction's view, what you expect, you invite. If your inner belief is, "It's all downhill from here," then that belief becomes your reality. But if you carry the thought, "My best years are unfolding spiritually," then vitality, opportunities, and meaningful people begin to show up. Not because of magic, but because you've shifted the frequency of your being. Here's a perspective that may challenge you. Your body isn't betraying you. It's maturing you. It's not falling apart. It's peeling away what's no longer essential. Like the lotus rising through the mud, this stage of life can be your awakening, not your decline. Think of aging like the ripening of fruit. A young fruit is firm, shiny, and sometimes bitter. But when it ripens, it softens, sweetens, and deepens. It becomes nourishing. In the same way, your soul is ripening. You are becoming medicine for yourself and for others. That doesn't mean we love every creak, crack, or stray chin hair that shows up overnight. Let's be real. Some mornings feel like a game of, "What new sound will my body make today?" But here's the shift. When we stop resisting and start smiling, even the aging process becomes lighter. Most people will spend their lives chasing youth like a ghost, wasting precious energy in mirrors and regrets. So instead of chasing lost youth, you chose something far more radical: to wake up. And in a world obsessed with denial, that choice already makes you rare. Yes, you. You're not just aging, you're awakening. While most people run from the mirror, numb their feelings, or bury their truth in distractions, you've made a different choice: to become conscious, and that already sets you free. Take a moment right now and ask yourself, what belief about aging have I inherited that no longer serves me? Is it the idea that getting older means becoming irrelevant? That vitality has an expiration date? That growth is only for the young? Whatever it is, write it down. Then let it go. Burn it if that feels right. Or even better, replace it with something true. Every year, I grow wiser. I grow lighter. I grow more connected to what truly matters. In Buddhism, we speak often of Shoshin, or beginner's mind, a mind that approaches each moment as if it's entirely new. So even at 60, 70, 80, you are not running out of time. You are running deeper into truth. But let's ask a deeper question. What happens when you've accepted aging, but still carry emotions you never had the chance to express? That's where we go next. Because real healing doesn't begin when we understand something. It begins when we finally feel what has been buried for far too long. So take a breath, a deeper one. Let's go there together, into the weight of unspoken emotion. Your liver remembers your anger. Your gut stores your fear. Your chest holds your grief. The body keeps these memories, not as punishments, but as requests for release. Here's the real question. What happens to a body that's never allowed to cry? Or worse, one that's been trained to smile through everything? In Zen, we don't bypass pain in the name of peace. We sit with it. We bow to it. Because what you don't allow yourself to feel, you'll never truly be free from. And what you avoid emotionally, your body will eventually carry physically. I often tell my students, your body isn't just flesh and blood. It's your autobiography, a living scroll. It holds every unsaid goodbye, every held-back scream, every whispered, "I'm not okay." So ask yourself gently, how many years have I spent collecting pain I was too afraid or too busy to release? I once guided a woman in her 60s through her very first silent meditation retreat. On the second day, during walking meditation, she suddenly stopped and began to cry, deeply. When I softly asked what had surfaced, she said, "I just realized. I never got to grieve my mother. I was too busy taking care of everyone else." That moment didn't change her because she cried. It changed her because, for the first time, she gave herself permission to feel. Buddhist teachings remind us, suffering isn't the true enemy, suppression is. Like stagnant water in a still pond, unexpressed emotion begins to rot. Emotion, when blocked, becomes inflammation. Thoughts harden into tension. Silence festers into sickness. And now, modern science is catching up. Epigenetics, the study of how behavior affects gene expression, has shown that unhealed trauma can literally switch genes on or off, which means unresolved emotions don't just affect you, they can echo into your children and grandchildren. Think about that. What you don't release, they might inherit. And here's the kicker. Psychologists have long understood the body-mind connection, but now research confirms it. Those who chronically suppress emotions are more likely to suffer from autoimmune diseases, chronic illness, and even heart conditions. On the flip side, there's hope. Practices like expressive writing, talk therapy, and somatic meditation are no longer seen as extras. They have been shown to reduce cortisol, balance the heart's rhythm, and even regulate the immune system. You don't need to scream into a pillow every night, but you do need to invite your emotions to the table. Give them space. Let them speak. Because what we feel, we can finally release. And what we release no longer needs to live in our bodies. So far, we've begun to release the weight of old emotions. But what if true healing requires more than letting go? What if it also means learning how to fall with grace? Most people grow up thinking that strength means holding everything together, keeping the smile, maintaining the role, pushing through. But real strength, it's something far quieter. It's the courage to let things fall apart, not in chaos or drama, but on purpose, with intention. Not for sympathy, not for attention, but for truth. like a tree in autumn, shedding its leaves without resistance because it trusts that spring will come again. That letting go is not the end. It's part of the rhythm of renewal. Let me share something personal. There was a chapter in my life when I was completely drained. I was teaching, guiding, holding space for others, but inside, I was numb. I didn't even notice how far I had drifted from myself until one evening I finally sat down. No phone, no to-do list, no noise, and out of nowhere, tears came. Not from sadness, not from pain, but from the sheer release of decades of holding it all in. I cried for 30 minutes, and when it was over, I didn't feel weak. I felt real. I felt alive, like I had finally returned to my body, to myself. This is the vibration of healing. You cannot attract wholeness from a heart that's still in fragments. You cannot manifest peace while grief remains trapped in your chest like a stone, because energy doesn't lie. It's honest. And here's the rule: what you resist persists, but what you embrace transforms. When you allow yourself to soften, to feel, to release, your vibration changes, and the universe, always listening, always reflecting, begins to shift with you. That is healing. Not just in theory, but in your actual life. People show up differently. Peace lands more softly. Opportunities flow instead of being chased. But here's the hard truth. We've been taught to fear emotions, to see vulnerability as weakness, to believe that the strong ones are the ones who never cry. But in my experience, the strongest people I've ever met were the ones who weren't afraid to feel deeply. Because once you've made peace with your pain, there's nothing left that can be used against you. You're not hiding. You're not pretending. You're free. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a cry-at-everything kind of person. Nobody wants to be the one sobbing over a burnt piece of toast. But let's be honest. Sometimes it's not about the toast, is it? It's about the exhaustion that's gone unspoken, the pressure that's been stacking up, the 1,000 little things we've been too busy or too proud to admit hurt us. And here's the tragedy. Most people will carry these emotional weights all the way to the end, never realizing they were optional. But you're different. You're still here, still watching, still feeling something stir inside. That's not a coincidence. That's an invitation. So let me offer you an image. Imagine your body as a house. Every emotion you never spoke is like a box shoved into the attic. Out of sight, out of mind, but not out of energy. And slowly those hidden boxes begin to creak through the floorboards, until one day the house whispers, "Please, unpack me." Tonight, try something simple. Write a letter to your body. Ask it, "What have you been holding for me? Without thanks, without rest, without my attention?" You may be surprised at what it says back. In Zen, we say that when you sit in true stillness, your deepest truths begin to rise, not to punish you, but to purify you. This isn't a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. Now that we've begun to clear the attic of what no longer serves, what happens when we meet the present moment, fully, without fear, without the weight of the past? That's where we go next, because presence isn't just peaceful, it's profoundly healing. Now that we've begun to release the past and return to ourselves, the next step is learning how to remain here, because presence isn't just where healing begins, it's where it actually happens. Most of us are never really here. We're either stuck replaying old regrets like a broken film reel looping scenes we can't change, or fast-forwarding through imagined disasters, worrying about things that haven't even happened. Meanwhile, the only moment that's ever truly real, this one right here, slides by unnoticed. Like a loyal friend, we keep standing up again and again, saying, "Not now, maybe later." But here's a twist that still surprises people. Suffering doesn't always come from pain. Often, it comes from time travel, from mentally living in yesterday's grief or tomorrow's anxiety. And while the mind travels, the body pays the price. You've felt it, haven't you? That low hum of fatigue, even when you've done nothing. That shallow breath you didn't even realize you were taking. That tightness in your chest, your jaw, your stomach. The racing thoughts that leave you feeling like you ran a marathon just sitting still. That's what happens when your mind is out of sync with the moment. The body tightens, preparing for danger that doesn't even exist yet. It defends itself against ghosts of the past or shadows of the future. Zen teaches this truth so simply, yet so profoundly. This moment is not a stepping stone, it is the destination. Peace doesn't come when everything is perfect. It comes when you stop waiting for everything to change. And science agrees. A famous Harvard study found that people spend nearly 47% of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're doing. And the more their minds wandered, the less happy they reported feeling. Here's the empowering part. Just 10 minutes of mindful presence a day, even as simple as noticing your breath, can lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and increase gray matter in areas of the brain linked to memory and self-awareness. In other words, you can begin to rewire your brain by breathing with intention. Let me share a moment from my own life. Years ago, I fell into the trap many do: over-planning, over-controlling. Every day became a strategy. Fix the diet, fix the schedule, fix the body, supplements, routines, timers, always trying to get ahead of life. But one morning, something shifted. I sat outside under a Bodhi tree I had planted years earlier. I wasn't meditating. I wasn't doing anything. I simply sat. I watched the way the leaves moved. I listened to the wind. I felt my own breath. And in that gentle stillness, something remarkable happened. I realized my jaw had unclenched. My stomach felt soft. My chest was open. For the first time in weeks, I felt whole. Healing didn't come from the next plan. It came from presence. Psychologically, this makes perfect sense. When you truly enter the present, the mind has no space to spiral into what-ifs. The cycle of fear gets interrupted. The nervous system resets. Even the inner child, that quiet, vulnerable part of us, finally finds a safe place to rest. And from a law of attraction perspective, your vibration is always now. The universe doesn't respond to the words you speak. It responds to the energy you carry. So if your mind is constantly locked on what's missing, what hurts, what might go wrong, you amplify that experience. But if you step into the moment with even a little gratitude, with breath, with awareness, you begin to radiate trust, and trust is magnetic. Now I know what some of you might be thinking, but I've got bills, deadlines, pain, aging parents. I can't just sit and breathe all day. You're right. And the good news is, you don't have to. Because presence doesn't mean pausing your life. It means showing up for it more fully. You can wash dishes with awareness. Feel your feet in your shoes as you walk to the mailbox. Speak to your partner or your child and really listen, not to respond, but to connect. Presence isn't a technique. It's a return to your own breath, to your own senses, to the life that's happening now, not someday. Think of your mind like a snow globe. When shaken, it's a swirl of confusion, distraction, and noise. But when you set it down, the flakes settle. The picture becomes clear. Stillness reveals what's always been there. Now that you've remembered how to return to the present through stillness and awareness, let's talk about what it really takes to stay there, especially when life pulls you in every direction. Let's be honest, staying present in the middle of life's chaos isn't always graceful. It's not about escaping to a mountaintop or turning into a monk overnight. Some days, just brushing your teeth without checking your phone is a win. Some days, managing to breathe deeply in traffic or washing a dish while truly feeling the water, that's a victory worth celebrating. Because peace doesn't show up as a grand explosion. It builds quietly through small wins. That's how it gathers momentum. Most people will keep searching for healing in the next guru, the newest gadget, or the latest superfood. They chase the illusion that something out there holds the answer. But you're beginning to learn the secret. Now is enough. Not someday. Not when the stars align. Not after the next course, cleanse, or breakthrough. This breath, right here, contains everything you need to begin again. You don't need more time. You need more presence in the time you already have. Because here's the magic. The moments you are truly alive in, those are the ones that multiply. They expand inside you. They change your brain chemistry, your memories, your legacy. Try this tonight. Set a timer for just 3 minutes. Find a quiet space. No music, no phone, just you and your breath. With each inhale, silently say, "Now is safe." With each exhale, say, "Now is enough." Let that rhythm be your anchor. Let it be your medicine. Let it remind you, you are not late, behind, or broken. You are already here, and here is sacred. In Buddhism, we don't chase the future. We invite the present moment to reveal itself, its texture, its truth, its hidden gift. Because peace doesn't arrive like a package dropped on your doorstep. Peace awakens when you do. And now that you've reclaimed your presence, let's go deeper. Let's talk about something even more powerful than awareness. Meaning. Because your body doesn't just respond to oxygen or medication, it responds to purpose. So we've seen how presence can anchor us in the now. But what truly pulls us forward is purpose. Because when your life has meaning, even pain transforms into something sacred. This truth is powerful. Pain without purpose feels heavy, endless, and unbearable. But pain with purpose, it becomes a kind of sacred fuel. It gives meaning to the struggle. It turns suffering into story and your path into something that feels alive. Not like a prison, but like a journey. I remember working with a retired nurse who had fallen into a quiet depression after leaving her decades-long career. She told me, "I feel invisible now." The structure was gone. The sense of being needed had faded. But then she started volunteering, just one morning a week, reading to children at the local library. And slowly, everything changed. Her posture lifted. Her voice had energy again. She said something I'll never forget. "It's like my body remembers what I'm here for." That's what purpose does. It doesn't just lift your mood, it reawakens your biology. Purpose is the most magnetic force you can emit. When your actions align with something that feels true, something you believe in, life starts responding. You begin attracting people, moments, and opportunities that nourish your direction. It's not superstition, it's not luck, it's vibration. And it begins the moment you choose to mean something to someone or to something beyond yourself. Think of your purpose like the sun. Sure, There will be cloudy days, days when you feel lost, days when the light is hidden. But the sun is still there, and when you turn toward it, even slightly, everything in your inner garden begins to grow, even if it's slow, even if it's quiet. The body responds to warmth, especially the warmth of meaning. And no, I'm not saying you have to reinvent the world at age 70. Let's be real. Some mornings, just finding your reading glasses feels like a full-time job. But purpose doesn't have to be heavy. It can be simple. Making someone laugh today, watering a plant, sending a kind message. Even those small things, done with intention, can be your sacred work. So no, the real question isn't, how many years do I have left? The real question is, what will I bring to the years I have? You're not done. If you're still breathing, you're still becoming. And becoming, even slowly, is medicine. Most people never ask this question. They wait. They drift. They spend their later years hoping something or someone will fix them, but not you. If you're still here, still watching, still reflecting, you're not waiting. You're remembering. And that alone, that's rare. That's powerful. Here's a small but profound practice. Tonight, write down one reason, just one, why you want to wake up tomorrow. It doesn't have to be grand. It could be simple. I want to see the sunrise. Let that be enough. Let that be the beginning. In Zen, we don't chase purpose like a trophy. We discover it, moment by moment, in silence, in service, in stillness, in the little things. You are not too old. You are not too late. Your why is still whispering. All it needs is your ear. So now we've walked through awareness, emotion, belief, and purpose. There's only one thing left: to bring it all together and let it land fully in your heart. If this message stirred something inside you, please consider liking, subscribing to Buddhism Seeds, and leaving a comment below. Let us know, what part of your body are you learning to love again? Because healing isn't about fixing what's wrong. It's about coming home to who you already are, whole, worthy, alive.